I'm Tyler Bronski. I'm with AJ Achter of the Somerset Patriots, formerly of the Minnesota Twins and the LA Angels. Now, AJ, drafted by Minnesota in 2010, made the big leagues with them in 2014. Take me through what a typical game day is like for you in the major leagues. Let's say the game's at 7 p.m. What time are you getting to the field, what time you're leaving, and the routine in between that.
Yeah, well, especially being a younger guy, you always got to be one of the first guys there. It's kind of unwritten rule. The veterans kind of have a little more leeway showing up. But I always like getting to the field early, showing up usually about one or so, get some lunch because they provide lunch at the field there, and getting some lunch and then kind of starting my routine. I kind of have a foam roll stretch routine that I go through. And then, go out for BP, do some throwing, and then kind of lock it in for game time because, especially in the bullpen, it's a little different because you have to be ready to come to play every day, whereas a younger starter can get in a little more routine. As a bullpen guy, it's almost better because you can just kind of be ready to go every day when you get to the park. So it made the transition, from the minor leagues to big leagues a lot easier.
Absolutely. Now, when you were called up to the major league, there were a lot of your teammates from the minor leagues up in the big leagues, guys like a Yasmiel Pinto, Kenneth Vargas, Kyle Gibson. Is that kind of nice, having some familiar faces in the clubhouse than, say, being the new guy, so to speak?
Yeah, exactly. So when I got called up in 2014, I wasn't in big league camp that year, so I didn't know many of the, like Mauer and Dozier, guys like that, that had been around for a while. But, about half of our team from Rochester was there, so it was great. A lot of familiarity. Guys who'd been up before kind of showed me the ropes on what to do, what not to do. So, it was definitely a great experience, and having the guys that I had close relationships with definitely helped.
Sure. Now, for fans that don't know, what does your pitch repertoire include? What pitches do you throw that you think translated well to the major league level?
I'm a fastball, slider, changeup guy, 4-seam, 2-seam. I throw a lot of changeups. I think my splits last year, especially in the big leagues, were I threw my changeup most out of any pitch. So it's kind of a pitch that's always worked for me. It's a pitch I'm struggling with this year. That's why I've had the struggles I've had. But I think that when you're on the big league mound, it's more about just going out and competing because, you can get caught up in the fans and things of that nature, but it's all about just getting back to it, being 60 feet, 6 inches away and competing with all your pitches. Now,
in the major leagues and minor leagues, is there a difference in scouting reports that you get? Like in the minor leagues, do you kind of just you see all the players, kind of categorize them in a certain group, maybe this guy has power, this guy doesn't, and in the major leagues, I'm assuming it's more like a specific game plan. Is that true, so to speak?
That's absolutely true. In the minor leagues, it's more of looking at the stats, seeing who's a high strikeout guy, high walk, and things of that nature. Where in the big leagues, you can have all the info you want. Most teams have either apps or iPads that they give to guys that you can break down. Like last year at the Angels, I got videos of all the times I'd face guys before you get their their hot and cold sheets, things like that. So whatever information you want, you can have in the big leagues pretty much. It's a lot, and that's another thing you kind of have to get to a point where what information works for you.
Sure. Now, being a Major League Baseball player, before each game you guys have maybe hundreds of fans waiting for you guys to sign autographs or whatever. As a ball player, I've always been curious, when do you decide to sign for people? When do you look for specific people or items to sign? What do you look for?
A lot for me is, when it's right before the game, we're all kind of trying to get mentally ready for the game and things like that. So we try to lock in before then, but if a couple guys go off and sign, you can kind of do it too. But the biggest thing for me too is being really polite. If someone asks me politely, it's hard to say no for me unless I'm really locked into something. But and obviously if they have a card of yours or something like that, and the younger kids, I'll try to sign for whenever I can.
You played for the LA Angels last year for most of the year, really. What did you like about the Angels organization and maybe how Mike Scioscia used you in the bullpen?
They were a blessing to me. They really were. I think the biggest thing for me is they gave me a chance. I was up and down 8 times with them, which most people would think that is a negative, but I took it as a positive that they were giving me a chance every time. And Scioscia and Charlie Nagy, the pitching coach, they gave me opportunities. They ran me out there a bunch. And I had some success there, which was great. And, I thank them for that. And, the whole front office and all the people with the Angels were great to me. And I'm forever in debt to them.
Oh, for sure. Now, you grew up a Detroit Tigers fan. Was that kind of surreal for you when you would play in Detroit? And you didn't grow up too far from Toledo as well, their AAA team. So same question, kind of how surreal that was to play in those two places.
That was when in 2014 when I was with Rochester and we played in Toledo. That was kind of my first whoa moment because we played in Toledo. That was kind of the Mudhens were a team I grew up rooting for. We had season tickets to there, so I got to pitch there on Mother's Day. So my mom was in the stands. It was great. And then in the big leagues, obviously anywhere you play is great, but in Detroit was special because the place I'd gone and watched so many games, and I got my first big league win in September of 2014 against the Tigers in Detroit. So it's crazy how some things have worked out. It's been kind of storybook in a way.
Yeah. Final question for you, AJ. I know you began the year in the Tigers organization, got released. You're now with the Somerset Patriots in the Atlantic League, and you guys on this team have had like the most guys picked up this year by any organization in this league. How hopeful are you that maybe you could use this Atlantic League as your platform to hopefully get back where you want to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of why I signed here, because of all the success they've had and getting guys forward. I mean, this is a great league and the competition's great, but no one wants to be here for very long when it comes down to it. So I could have stayed at home and sat on the couch the rest of the year and kind of tried to get something in the off season, but I kind of wanted to use it here to get better. This is a first-class organization, and I'm really enjoying my time here.